Welcome back. I wish this was a video of me doing pulls and boost and all this and that. Unfortunately, it's not. I've ran into more issues with parts, things that have been overlooked on my end. I'll get to that in another video. But for now, we're going to be swapping out some hot parts, getting them Cerakoted. We're going to take the O2 housing and the downpipe off, get those Cerakoted, and I'm also going to do an oil pan swap because this thing is leaking quite a bit. I'm pretty sure I know where it's leaking from. There's only one way to find out, and I've had this new pan for some time, so while I'm in between waiting of getting new parts for stuff that's broken, this is the perfect time to do it. Let's get into it. For those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, the new setup is a AGT 55mm, an FP exhaust manifold, and a Artec O2 housing. That's a 3.5 inch V-band outlet. So I have a 3.5 inch exhaust from the turbo towards the back. Really big piece of metal, and unfortunately it also creates a bunch of heat. So I'm going to get that Cerakoted while I'm waiting on getting everything figured out tune-wise. I also just recently did an ACD reservoir relocation, so I could run this new air intake right behind this headlight. It was really awesome of Rob over at JDM Fab to put this little bracket right here. This thing is super stable. It's not going anywhere. Previous setup was a 6466. I'm still on a stock block. Ran it for, I think, 2.5, 3 years, somewhere around there. And I wanted to go downsize back to a turbo that I felt was something that was just perfect for what I wanted to do with the car. Now you're all caught up. So first things first, you can see the 3.5 inch downpipe is really close to this intercooler piping. We will be rerouting that because there's a little bit of room to go a little bit closer. And what I'm gonna want to do is get rid of this coupler right here because I know it's gonna pop and I know it's gonna break. Well, it's gonna burn. That's what it is. It's gonna melt. So we'll be taking this off to get this Cerakoted, and then the O2 housing as well. This is it's an Evo, man. It leaks oil. It's just part of the game. But I have a new Morrison fitting as well for this thing. I just wanted to do it as a one and done, so we'll be dropping the oil and just doing an oil change on the Evo. This oil has maybe, and I say this sparingly, maybe 100 miles on it, but that's because waiting on parts and tuning. So, but it's also been a few months. We need to remove the O2 sensor back there. We need to get that V-band off down there, and then disconnect right here, and then get those nuts off, and all the hot stuff should be off the car. Old man noises. Got the 3.5 inch O2 housing, and then the 3.5 inch downpipe. Now that I got the hot parts off, I'm going to remove the starter. Now, I found directions of how to install the Tomei baffling kit. Within the kit itself, you just have to use that QR code, and then you can figure out how to install it. I'm just gonna show you what I'm doing. Yeah, first things first, as you go underneath, got my 12, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts to remove. to get the baffling part off, including these two right here for the pickup tube. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 bolts. You can remove them. The kit that you buy replaces this gasket here. You'll be fine to remove this and take it all off. Now when you're done pulling out your strainer, it's a good idea to take a look inside of it to make sure that it's all nice and clean. I was able to pull all that stuff out. The majority of it is gasket. Some of them are bits of metal. So that's nice to get that out of there so it doesn't go into your motor. On to the next step. So the way that the diagram lays it out, this little piece is going to be towards the transfer case. On the back side, if this is your layout on the inside, this guy is going to be this way, going down, and then this other piece over here is going to be there. But so it's going to go this guy first, this guy underneath it, and then this one under it. So it'll be this piece installed first, this piece, and then this piece. Pay close attention to how this is oriented, and then I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. It's just too hard to do it with one hand. So you can see I have the baffling installed. Again, that one piece goes first, this big section goes second, that one goes on top of that one, and then you do the oil strainer right there. I found these 3 bolts to be the hardest, actually, of the installation. Trying to get them to just line up within that baffling was kind of a pain, to be quite fair. Old man out of breath. Torque values. They tell you the torque values within the Tomei thing. I want to say this ended up being, or these bolts ended up being 16 foot-pounds. That bolt over there ended up being 9 foot-pounds. And then these bolts ended up being 14 foot-pounds, according to Tomei. My only real complaint is that there isn't a lock washer with that one bolt, and I don't know if maybe it was a measurement thing where they couldn't add one right there or something, but red Loctite, it ain't going anywhere. Don't mind the mess, but new oil pan has been installed. My personal opinion, when you're redoing your oil pan bolts and you're taking everything off, mind you, this time it was with a gasket. These two right here, that one right there directly, these two underneath the crank pulley, you really want to kind of rotate the motor by hand after installing the oil pan bolts, and then look at your timing belt to make sure that one of these bolts is not scraping its timing belt, because if you put the wrong bolt in the wrong place, you will tear up your timing belt. So I rotate the motor a couple of times to make sure that it's not leaving any indents or any scratches on the belt, because it'll rip it apart. So just a little bit of insurance. Doing some turbo maintenance right now, so once I have that done, I will cut that line, bring that down. This is why I really enjoy the Morrison fittings. Just super easy to take apart, and I left myself a little extra on this one by fitting this hose all the way to the back of that fitting. And because I had to cut this one off because it didn't want to twist off, I still have that extra that I can use and pull down, so I don't need a new hose. I'm just not a fan of the metal ones. I got everything back. It's all nice and Cerakoted now. Looks absolutely amazing. Colby did an awesome job. Everything's plugged up. Yeah, just got done doing an exhaust leak check. Going to disconnect the fuel pump and the coil unplug setup. Turn the motor over a couple times, see if I hear any weird noises. I don't want to just start it up. I know I rotated the motor with the new baffles in, but I do want to make sure, I do want to make damn sure. I have oil in it. Let's see what happens. I would say success. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear any clinking. Nothing metallic. Let's see if she fires up. Good oil pressure, no noises, solid idle. That ball bearing spins for a very long time. Can't complain. Downpipe is hot, but not near as hot as it could be, thanks to that Cerakote. So I'm extremely happy with that. Overall, I'd say this is off to a really great start. I'm gonna let it cool down. Go back through, tighten all the bolts again, all the V-bands, make sure that they're still tight. And then I'm probably gonna do another boost leak test, and then we should be ready for everything. I got my timing light. All my tools are in a mess right now, but I'll reorganize now that I'm finished with this particular part of the project. Gonna do a boost leak check, and then should be doing pretty good. Happy that we're moving forward. Unhappy it's taking this long, but happy. Dreamer do, it's up to you. Till next time.